After waiting about a year and 8 months for a new episode of the Game of Thrones House of Dragons series on HBO and HBO Max, um, I found it to be fairly disappointing. And I want to talk about it with you today. This episode, man, it had so much potential and it has so much going for it, but it really did not hit the mark. So let's talk about it. And I'm gonna keep it very high level. But even though I'm going to keep it very high level, there's still maybe some spoilers, so you've been warned. So what went right? Olivia Cook. She plays Queen Alicent, or as I like to call her, the Green Queen. She is absolutely awesome. She's an awesome actress. I love the way she plays her part. Her range of emotions, even though the writers don't give her any real crazy emotional swings to act out, she's so subtle in her delivery. There was three instances in this first episode that I thought was absolutely awesome and how she handled herself. She was angry with Aemon's actions in killing his cousin, but she still defended his actions as his mother. And the way she acted that out was absolutely stunning. She is so good at that. She portrayed the anger, but she also portrayed that motherly love that she had for her. She was absolutely done with Aegon at the small council meeting when he brought his son into the small council meeting. But she was able to navigate that situation and get him back on track. We watched her manage her father in the small council meeting when he undermined her authority in the small council meeting. She did it behind the scenes and in private, but she did a wonderful job at acting out that. And last but not least, she how she dealt with Littlefoot. I don't know the guy's real name. You know, the nasty guy that likes feet. She had to deal with him during this episode, and she plays that with such disgust and disdain. Like you could tell under her eyes that she really does not like this guy. She thinks he's nasty and perverted, but yet he is a necessity. He is a necessary evil that she has to deal with. And just watching her kind of deal with everyday things and with all these different people, all these different men around her, but yet she's able to manage up and manage around and still get the things that she needs to get done, I think is absolutely awesome. And Olivia Cook plays the part to a T. She does an excellent job with it, and I give her all the props in the world. I am looking forward to seeing how she reconciles the fact that that Queen Alicent is doing the same thing or doing the same person that she was upset with Rhaenyra for doing. You know, she really condemned Rhaenyra when she thought that she was having relations outside of wedlock, and now we see her doing the same thing. So I'm really interested in seeing how that goes and how she plays and acts out the how she's torn between her religion, which she thinks so highly of, and her flesh and the things that she wants to do. So I can't wait to see how that all works out for her. The second thing I thought went really, really right with this episode was we have Starks. And anybody who watched the first Game of Thrones, we're all in love with House Stark. We all love how House Stark does business. We love how they have this quality about them. They're upstanding people. They are honorable people. And we know that the Starks are going to be good guys, or they feel like they're good guys. So to watch that, to see them and to go back to Winterfell at the beginning of this episode, I thought was absolutely awesome. And just to see them again, and actually to go to the wall, there was a line in there that I thought was really potent, and it was a callback to the first series.
My father brought King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne to see the wall. His grace stood at this very outlook and watched as their dragons, the greatest power in the world, refused to cross it. Do you think my ancestors built a 700-foot wall of ice to keep out snow and savages. What does it keep out? Death.
And I thought that was a really good line. Yeah, I tell you what, the writers don't always didn't take the show in the directions I would like to have had them take it in. They didn't do the same things I would have done in this episode. But boy, there was a few really good lines in the episode, though. They had a few bars in there, and I have to give them credit where credit is due. Now, the third thing that I really liked, or that I thought went right about this episode was the baby. Oh, the baby. Oh my goodness. I don't know. That scene, um, it took me by surprise. I honestly, my God, why would they do that to that poor baby? And the way it was acted out by the young Targaryen girl that was in there, the mother of the twins that was in the room, and how she just took one baby and walked out. And we know that she is special. She has abilities, but she's also very disconnected from reality at times. And the way she just grabbed the other baby and walked out of the room, and the noises that we heard, oh God, the noises. You know, why y'all do that to that baby? That don't make no that makes absolutely no sense. Why did y'all do that to that baby? My God, y'all could have listen, y'all. I know some things we do for shock and awe, and I know the red wedding and things like that. We saw the beheading of Eddard Stark in the first series, so I know that there's some things that we have to do in this show to kind of keep up those appearances. But the baby, come on, man, the baby. That was absolutely crazy, but it was a surprise. And I believe for the most part, it was a pleasant surprise. So those are the three things that I thought went right. I thought Olivia Cook went right in this episode. I believe that she is the best actress on the show. I think that she does the best job. Um, the Starks, we have Starks, and that baby scene. What went wrong? Now, this is what got me, and this is why I feel like the episode was disappointing. Um, there was no hook. I've been waiting for a year and 8 months for a new episode, and the way the last season ended had me gripped, had me hooked, and really ready, wanting to see the next episode, I could not wait for this series to come back out. And then you give me this. Uh, Not horrible, it's not a horrible episode. It wasn't written horribly. It was just meh. I mean, it was a slow burn. And I don't believe that you should start off a new season with a slow burn. I feel like this episode would have been better as an episode 2 or an episode 3, but not an episode 1. You want to hook your audience. You want to get us back excited. It's been a long time. We watched a lot of other shows in that year and 8 months, and we wanted to get back to that same excitement level that you ended off last season with. So this season should have started off on a very high note with something happening that would have gotten us all excited. And I just don't feel like you did that. I don't feel like that the writers or that HBO really did the first episode of season 2 of such a huge franchise justice in this manner. Episode wasn't horrible. It really wasn't. If it was a second, third, fourth, or fifth episode, if we had already had a bunch of action and then we slowed it down with something like this, then I would have been fine with it. But the first episode, it really left me wanting. Would have been so easy for you to hook me because I wanted to be hooked. It's easy to hook a fish that wants to be hooked. I wanted to be hooked. I couldn't wait to be hooked. I rearranged my schedule on my Father's Day to be hooked. And then you gave me this slow burn. If you'd have given me any action, if you'd have given me any dragon fight, if you'd have given me anything, it would have done exactly what I wanted it to, and it would have hooked me in. And even if the rest of the episode was slower, at least I know I would have gotten that adrenaline rush, that rush that I had at the end of season 1 that would have carried me on into season 2. At this point, of course, I'm gonna watch the second episode, but if I wasn't as into it as I am, I wouldn't be in such a rush to watch the second episode. And that is truly a fail, I think, in this series. See, I'm the type of person that yes, I watch a lot of shows and I record a lot of shows, but Game of Thrones and a few other shows, there's only a few shows that I feel like are same day shows. Like if I record them, as soon as I get home, as soon as I get the opportunity, I watch that show usually the same day. There's other shows that I record that I might go, a few episodes. I might have a few episodes building up, and then whenever I get the time, because I am a busy person, whenever I get the time, I'll sit down and I'll binge. I'll watch a few episodes or whatever, but not with Game of Thrones. With Game of Thrones, I want to watch that episode as soon as I possibly can. And if you continue to do things like this, I won't always be that way. I will be, and I don't want Game of Thrones. I don't want the House of Dragon to be a show that, oh, I can just watch it whenever I get time. I want the House of Dragon to be that show that I'm excited to see, even when I'm up and out and taking care of business. I can't wait to get home to check it out. And I just don't feel like you guys really honored that, or that the Game of Thrones HBO really delivered on that this time. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode and seeing how we go. Another thing that I don't think went very well was, and again, this was also in my pluses because it was the baby. Oh, the baby. My goodness. Now, the thing is, I don't think that moment hit as well as it should have. And I think I blame it on the writers in this particular case. So I give the writers props when they deserve it, but I also have to take some props away when they deserve it. So with that young boy that was killed, I don't think the moment really hit. It really didn't hit as well as I thought it should, because the only other time that we've seen this child was in that small council meeting. And he was kind of a jerk in the small council meeting. And it really wasn't because of the child. The child was cute, but the child was just playing, doing what children do. But because his father, the king, was such a jerk in that scene, it made us not like him either. He's, what are you going to make that grown man who is the collector of coin he has such a high position, and you're going to make him give your son a piggyback ride, or a horse ride or whatever? I thought that was really ugly. It was really, it was a moment, and I understand what the writers were doing, but I don't feel like that moment really hit. It made the child, it painted the child in a negative light. So when a child dies, of course we all have feelings because it's a baby that's being killed, a child that's being killed. So I mean, it's shock and awe, but I don't have the feelings that I should have had for that child being killed. I should have really, really, really felt for that child being killed. But the child was, because the only time we saw him, it was a really ugly situation that the child wasn't painted in the best light. So I think that was just the writing. I think if we do a slightly different writing, I'm not talking bad about the writers at all, because I think that they do a wonderful job. I just think that they missed the mark in this particular case. Now, so that's what I feel like went wrong. So what could we have done better? Or what would I have done differently? Well, first and foremost, let's go back to that last scene. That last scene with the child being killed. I think instead of our introduction to the child being the small council meeting, I think I would have made our introduction to the child a different moment. Like the child was studying in this study in the library when his father, King Aegon, had gone to see him. And the mother says, "Hey, he's in the library." I think if they would have changed that, instead of him taking him to the small council meeting, if they would have changed that to where he had gone in there and spent some time with him, maybe read to him, some sort of way that they could have connected King Aegon. Yes, he could still be a bad guy. I know we're trying to make him a discount Joffrey, and we're trying to make it where everybody hates him. But that scene would have hit so much harder if we would have saw the love that he had for his son. Maybe that was his one redeeming quality, the fact that he loved his son, his heir, the person that was going to take over after him. And you would have saw him sitting down with him and teaching him. And then if he brought him to the meeting, instead of the boy just getting on the guy's nerves and that whole issue happening, maybe he would have let him sit on his lap and let him, so we could see that King Aegon really cares about his son, so that when the son was killed at the end, we would have had a moment. We would have had the feels. Not only would have been shock and awe, but it would also been feels along with it. You guys went, I believe that HBO Max went for the shock and awe, but they missed the feels. And I think it could have been so powerful. It could have been one of those red wedding moments, when at the red wedding, when the Stark girl was killed. I can't remember names right now, but when the Stark girl was killed, the pregnant queen was killed. They had just had such a beautiful moment in what they were going to name the baby. They was going to name the baby Eddard after, his father, and they loved each other so much, and they had married on love, and that's what caused, all this drama, blah 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 blah. So when that happened, I mean, not only was it shock and awe, but it was also, we felt for them. We felt for that loss, So shock and awe plus feels. We can't just go for shock and awe. We have to add that feels to it to really put it over and to make it epic, to make it rememberable. Because I believe that if this series goes 5, 6, 7 seasons, will we remember this moment? Yes, we remember it today because, oh my God, it was shock and awe, but we're going to have so many other shock and awe moments throughout the series. Will this one be one that we remember? Will this one be a red wedding? Will this one have people reacting to it the way they did with the red wedding? And I don't think so. And I just don't believe that they set it up correctly. I even think that I would have set it up over the course of a few episodes, maybe the first 2 episodes, this whole episode, we would have saw how much he loved the boy. And then I would have had him killed at the end of the next episode or at the beginning of the third episode. That way, after we've seen a few more instances of them being together, of him talking about his heir, of him saying, hey, I want to teach him everything that I know, and we're going to learn together, and so that we can rule Westeros the right way, whatever it is, however you guys wanted to write it. And I just feel like it would have brought the feels to it so that when the death actually happened, it would have been very effective. I also would have started off the episode, I think, right after the opening sequence, right after this is what happened last year, or this is what happened previously on House of Dragon. And after the theme song, da, 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 I would have started off in the air with a dragon fight. I would have started off. It didn't have to be any main characters. It could have been, because there's more Targaryens and people out there flying dragons that we don't know about. There's other people out there flying dragons that are not a part of our main story. So we could have had two unknown, unnamed people up in the air fighting with some epic dragon fight. Okay. That was very much needed. I think if we'd have started off the episode, that would have been the hook that I was talking about earlier. Even if no one died, even if it was a fight and one of the dragons got wounded and the other one went away, or both the dragons, and then we see them with a report, hey, there was a fight over this area, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I think that would have done wonders to change how I specifically feel about this particular episode. I think that would have really taken the episode to a different level, and really made it good. Just with that, just with that small change, I think that would have really really elevated the episode to something that, oh my God, I can't wait for next week. And then if next week was a little bit slower or whatever, I understand that. That's okay. We're setting things up, but I got that hook. I got that thing that hooked me and having me excited about season two. And lastly, the whole Rhaenyra, Queen Rhaenyra, uh, grieving stuff. I think we could have skipped it. We could have taken that out. The thing that had me, one of the things that had me so excited about this season was the look that she had at the end of the last season. When she found out that her son had been killed, she turned and the camera came in on a close-up on her, and she had a look of determination. She had a look of anger. She had a look of war on her face. And that's where I expected to see her starting out in this season. And I feel like we went backwards. We went back to grieving when we should be at anger. We went back to disbelief, and when we should already be at anger. She skipped all of that. She skipped the disbelief. She skipped all of that. When she was told that her son had died, that look that she gave the camera was, I want to kill somebody. I'm going after them. And that's what I wanted to see coming in. That's why I wanted to start off. This is huge. The Dance of Dragons, the big war that really destroyed the Targaryens dynasty, that killed all the dragons, and why we find the Targaryens in the state that they were in at the beginning of the original original Game of Thrones season is about to begin. This was a season that this war starts, that this war gets going. So in the first episode, we should have seen that. We should see that anger. We should see the fight happening. We should be full-fledged into it. We've done enough explaining this. We should be seeing battles and strategy and dragons and fire and death. This is what this season is all about. And I feel like we missed that moment just by going back and, allowing her to grieve or going backwards and having her grieve. No, she should be upset right now. She should be moving forward. I just think that so excited last season when they did it so perfectly. He died. We know it was an accident. Like, Aemon didn't really want to kill his cousin. He didn't really want his dragon, but when two dragons start fighting, I mean, things are going to happen, right? So we had the confusion, we had the mistake, we had the anger. Everything was perfect for battle this episode, and that's what I was excited to see. I couldn't wait for the next episode. I couldn't wait to see what they did with this fight. I wanted to see the resolution of that look that she gave the camera at the end of the first season. And I didn't get it in this episode. And honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna get it in the next episode. And if they do what I think they're gonna do and drag out all this intrigue and drag this whole thing out and keep it slow, because I know that you can't afford to put dragons in every episode and all this other stuff. But if you drag it out to where there's no real war until the last few episodes of the season and all this other stuff, this is going to be a wasted season. I hope that they don't do that. I trust them because I believe that they did a wonderful job with the first season. But again, the first season was very slow and methodical to set up this season, and I just don't want them I don't want to go through another slow, methodical season to set up next season or the end of this season. It's time for us to get going with this series. It's time for us to see the war. It's time for us to see what's going on. Now, with all that being said, I did not read the books. So I know that they're probably going by the books and going by, the history and all this stuff, but we got to speed it up. We got to get this going if we want this to be a successful show, if we want this show to be thought of in the same breath as we thought of the original Game of Thrones series and one of the best series ever on HBO. And if you want to keep people like me invested in the show, you got to get it going. It has to be more action. We got to really move forward into the Dance of Dragons. So that's my thoughts on it. If you agree or disagree, please comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know what you agree with if you agree with my thoughts, let me know if you disagree with my thoughts. I want to hear everything. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your conspiracy theories. I want to hear what you think is going to happen. And I'll see you again next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.